Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you about Black Ops 3 graphics. I got to sit down and play the multiplayer and single player, and I wanted to talk to you today about graphics and to a lesser degree aesthetics. The gameplay that you're seeing right now is me playing Black Ops 2 on Studio, which is both one of the most graphically and aesthetically pleasing levels that I have ever played in Black Ops multiplayer. I think I'm just a sucker for the dinosaurs and cities and bright colors and that sort of stuff, but before we move forward, I should clearly define the difference between graphics and aesthetics for you. Graphics are raw performance factors, resolution, frame rate, frame drops, textures, subshading, lighting, all that sort of stuff. Whereas aesthetics are more artistic choices. That's going to be your color choice, your color palette, your models or your animations to an extent, the artistry that goes into it, a lot of the subtle things that you wouldn't particularly notice a lot of the time. I'd also like to make it clear what I played Black Ops 3 on. I played Black Ops 3 multiplayer on a PlayStation 4. The PS4 was running at 1080p 60 FPS, and I also watched some people play the campaign on PC in 4K 60 FPS. I didn't get to. They didn't exactly trade off or share, so I just stood over their shoulder and watched some of the foreign visitors to Treyarch that didn't speak English very well sit there and play. So let's talk about the good things about the graphics, bad things about the graphics, good aesthetics, and then bad aesthetics. Starting off with good graphics. First thing you'll notice right away is that there are no more jaggies because the game is running at a full 1080p, and I'm assuming it's also getting some kind of anti-aliasing going on. Black Ops 2 here runs at like 540p, 620p, something like that, but then it scales up. So if you look really closely, you can kind of see some jaggies on the guns when I aim down sights. That's completely gone from Black Ops 3. Again, resolution increase and anti-aliasing, pretty easy to do. The player models are distinct at long ranges, which is good. I mean, that has to do with both the modeling choices, a little bit of the aesthetics and other things, but I can clearly see what specialist I'm fighting up to a pretty solid range. What that means is they won't be able to surprise me. It's not like I'll run up to somebody not knowing their abilities and get smashed by them. I'll know who they are a pretty good distance away, and I think that's a good graphical quality. Textures look good. I'm not going to lie and say that I closely inspected every texture and every object. You have, different levels of compression and things you do, but casually playing, I didn't see anything wrong. I didn't see any bad textures. I didn't see any lazy or cheating ones, so that was good. Animations were on point, especially the water and swimming animations. The hand animations, which usually you seeing with your gun and stuff like that, look good. The physical animations of other characters, how they moved, how they danced around the map, also that was distinct how they were moving, so that's a very good gameplay feature right there. All of that looked pretty on point. Reloading looked on point. Animations in single player, with one exception that I'll talk about, were mostly on point. Robots are pretty easy. Humans are kind of different. You can do some kind of cool things. You can see your own legs in this game, Halo style. You can look down and see them. That's different for a Call of Duty game. And they also project their own shadows, which is a little bit different. The lighting was live and real. I'm actually getting DDoSed a little bit here in public matches, which is kind of frustrating, but you can look down, you can see your own legs, you can see the shadow that they cast, and you can see the live lighting, which is good, and it also reacts to grenades and explosives. That's an old feature for games, but I'm looking for stuff, man. I'm trying to find. So lighting seems to be on point, seems to be working, no real issues right there. There were also no graphical bugs, no weird glitches, no missing effects, nothing that really stood out and made me say, this looks ugly or screwed up. Nope, that was completely gone. But there were a couple of bad things about the graphics. Let's talk about the bad things. In single player, the engine really shows its age during cutscenes. I'm pretty sure this is another modified Call of Duty engine. I don't know, like Treyarch engine or Black Ops engine, whatever, version 89.0, but it's still running on that old base engine. And while they've upgraded the graphical, capabilities of it, where it really is weak is facial animations. Man, the facial animations in single player are not on point. And I know those are difficult because they're the most difficult animations to do, just all the different little complicated muscles in your mouth, especially on an old engine. But at the end of the day, when I look at the single player animation, it just kind of looks very last gen to me. Not really a great feel to it there. It looks like, I've seen this for about the last decade or so. There were some minor details missing, and what I said earlier, I said things weren't screwed up. There were a few things missing. Maybe these are picky things, like when you kill somebody in water and there's blood and giblets, they don't float or disperse in the water. They just kind of disappear. Again, the blood's probably not programmed as an actual liquid. It's probably just kind of like a spray pattern that goes everywhere. Things like that were gone. And I'm going to put this in the graphics. It might be aesthetics too, but there seemed to be a kind of haze over the maps. Kind of like, you can see it in this map. The further away you look, the more difficult it is to distinguish your opponents. Not just because they're smaller, but they're a little bit hazier. You could see this in Ghost a lot. Ghost was really, really bad about this. There seemed to be kind of like a fog of war that hung over the map. I'm assuming it could be a cheat for draw distance, or maybe it was a graphical choice or something. Maybe it was because I was tired and I'm playing a completely unfamiliar game and my brain is in overdrive and I'm looking for details and stuff like that. But there did seem to be a slight haze issue with the maps. Let's talk about aesthetics next, and this is very important. Graphics are just as important as aesthetics. The two go hand in hand, but they don't get, each one doesn't get its own due. So good thing, Black Ops 2 color scheme is back. Punchy, bright, vibrant colors. Thank God. For me, this was a godsend. You're going to try to see me use the LMG here. I have a little trick where I can wall bang and shoot through the wall and hit the explosive barrels and kill people, but I got cut down by a sniper right in the beginning of this. It just really didn't pan out. As a person with limited color vision, the bright colors are a lifesaver. Like Call of Duty Ghosts, I could not distinguish friend from foe. I have a little bit of a problem with that in AW, but I think that's just because the exos look pretty similar. AW has pretty good colors too, but the bright, like Black Ops colors, like what you're seeing right now, those are definitely coming back. You will not be missing them. Everything is bright, punchy, vibrant, good to go. The guns, models, and everything seem to fit the universe and theme. I could critique the guns and models individually, graphically. I could say how this gun is not realistic, or it's impossible, or this player model could do this and could do that, and a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, it fits. It makes sense. The guns look like they belong. Honestly, they look a little bit more like Black Ops 2 guns, and just going a little bit off of the graphical topic of the video, they handle and perform a lot like Black Ops 2 guns. Again, they're not the exact same thing. The exact same guns aren't coming back, but each gun has a unique feel to it, reload, animation, look, and that fits its performance very well, so that's a good thing. Same with the player models and all that. Next up, I would like to talk about some areas that were kind of corner cut. There were some, corner cut's the wrong word, but basically you can't create an entire universe out of your graphics. Even on a map like this, if you look in the background and you can see the mountains and the trees, they're actually relatively low resolution, low quality objects just kind of in the background. They're placeholders because you don't want to waste all your graphical power rendering these insanely complex buildings and minutiae detailed mountains in the background when nobody will ever see them. Use lesser quality things like that. And you also use your art design and stuff to cover up, like, why would you make an insanely complex metal texture when you can make that building orange, or make it something else, or make it more gameplay oriented, or have arrows or paint on it or something like that? Instead of punishing your graphics engine, you can do things like that. There were some areas like that I could tell that instead of just pushing the graphics engine, they chose to do something a little bit more aesthetically pleasing or gameplay oriented. And again, some of you might see that as a cheat. That's actually just a smart decision. It saves your processing power for something else. Another good thing is that player abilities are clear, distinct, and easy to see. So we all have specialists. The specialists have abilities. I saw more abilities than I did weapons, but the specialists also have weapons. These were created in a way to where they're very, very easy to see. The specialist that runs really fast with the overdrive ability, he's a bright blue streak across the map. He moves really, really fast. It's very easy to distinguish who he is. The other guy, Ruin, the one that jumps up and slams the gravity spikes in the ground, when he does this, aesthetically his gravity spikes glow. He has a unique animation that you don't see anywhere else. He brings it up. It has a little trail it follows. It lets you know that that's coming and gives you the opportunity for counterplay, which is very, very important. The same kind of thing with Reaper. He breaks out his giant minigun. You see it. It's clearly distinct. His animation changes. He's not going to surprise you with the minigun. The glitch ability where he warps around is a little bit surprising, but it has a very distinct sound. It has a very distinct look. You're not going to think you're lagging. You're going to know that he used that ability, and when all the ones work like that, that's very, very good. I'm happy for that. But there was one very bad aesthetic choice. Again, this is pre-alpha, this isn't set in stone, but the objective indicators were of a very poor color scheme. Again, I have limited color vision, but other people complained about this too. So here in Black Ops 2 and AW and other Call of Duty games, the objective indicators are either white for neutral, a very bright green, or a reddish and orange for when the enemy controls it, or something like it's very bright, distinct. In Black Ops 3, what they had was they had white for neutral. They had a light kind of white baby blue for when your team was controlling it, and a very soft, subtle pink kind of red for when the enemy team was controlling it. But for me, with crappy color vision, that just looked like a whole bunch of different shades of white. So I would look at a flag and I'd be like, it's flashing Is it flashing because my teammates are taking it, or is it flashing because the enemy is taking it, or is it neutral? I really don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Again, pretty much everybody at the event made this complaint directly to the developers, so I would not be surprised at all if that changed before launch. I mean, I certainly hope it would. Kind of the point of making this video is a little air your grievances publicly sort of deal, but I hope that changes. Overall, though, graphical fidelity, aesthetics, quite good. Think you're going to be happy with it. The only big issue I had was the facial animations are a bit ugly, but everything else looked great. You don't really worry with that kind of stuff in multiplayer anyway, so who cares? And that's all for this video. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.